friends. Hope everyone is doing well. So I'm excited to read today's story because it was written by the same person who wrote Dinosaur Jr.'s Happy Hatch Day that we read last week. So this one is called Kevin, and it was written and illustrated by Rob Biddulph. It is Kevin, the make-believe friend you can really believe in. This is Sid Gibbons, and this is his mum, and this is the reason they're looking so glum. Sid's dinner was up on the table before, but now it's an upside down on the floor. Look at that mess. This isn't the first time that Sid's been in trouble. On Monday, his ball turned the bird bath to rubble. On Tuesday, his pens were left out to dry. On Wednesday, his bedroom looked like a pigsty. Mum folded her arms as she spoke to the lad. Now, Sidney, remember the talk that we had? But Sid, he was hatching a plan in his head, and before she could finish, the little chap said, "I didn't do it. I'm innocent, Sid, but if you'll listen, I'll tell you who did. Kevin. Yes, that's right, Kevin, he did it." "Why don't you just ask him? He'll have to admit it." Mom was confused as she looked at the chair. 'Twas quite plain to see there was no Kevin there. A satisfied Sid simply stood there and smiled. "Well, what does he look like then?" said Mom to Sid. Well, he's ever so tall, and he's ever so wide and ever so smiley," the little boy lied. "Has only one tooth, it's as strong as a gorilla, has lots of pink spots on a fur of vanilla. Whenever I'm down with a sad, lonely feeling, he comes down to stay through the hatch in my ceiling. He's kind, but he's clumsy. I'm afraid that is why he is to blame for the messes that have been made." Mom rolled her eyes and her cheeks went bright red. "That's enough, Sidney. Now please go to bed and have a good think, 'cause those fibs have to end. You must not blame your mess on a make-believe friend." Grumpily, Sid made his way up the stairs and put on his PJs, the ones with the bears. He sat in the darkness, his mood not improving, when slowly the door to the hatch started moving. Suddenly, light flooded in through the ceiling, which Sid could have sworn was vanilla and pink. Excited and nervous all at the same time, he took a deep breath and started to climb. When he got to the top, what a sight to behold! Just look at the sky, what a fine shade of gold. The tree trunks were purple, the leaves made of jelly. The flowers were huge and incredibly smelly. The clouds were all star-shaped, the rainbow was dotty. The ladybird stripey, the bumblebee spotty. The grass was a carpet of mint green and yellow. And who's this familiar sort of a fellow? "Kevin, you're Kevin?" said Sid with a squeal. "I cannot believe that you're actually real. You're just like my drawing. No need to pretend. We'll play every day. You can be my best friend." Kevin just smiled and took Sid by the hand, and they started to walk through this magical land. Look at all those bright, beautiful colors. And there's Kevin. They passed lots of beasts that looked pretty silly, some hairy, some slimy, some leggy, some frilly. Sid smiled and said hi as each one came forward, but oddly the strange featured creatures ignored him. Big red, little blue, the one shaped like a kidney. They nodded to Kev, but they looked straight through Sidney. By the time they had Miss Rogers is struggling today. By the time they had rocked up to Kevin's front door, the facts of the matter were hard to ignore. Here is Kev's world, as I'm sure you are seeing. 'Twas Sidney who was the imaginary being. Now I have to report with a slight note of dread that Sidney was hatching a plan in his head. A plan oh so cheeky, so tricky, so clever. Invisible Sid equals bestest fun ever. Are you catching my drift? Do you see what I mean? You can't get off if you can not be seen. Look at that face. Ooh, he looks like he's thinking of some naughty things to do. So Sid scribbled on walls and he scribbled on floors. He bounced on the beds and he swung from the doors. He hosed down the dog and he frightened the hens. He left all the lids off of Kevin's new pens. Oh my goodness. Oof, that's a lot of naughty things to be doing. And when it was tea time, Invisible said, well, look to your right and you'll see what he did. Oh, he threw the plate on the floor. Just as Kev started to clean up the floor, in walked his dad through the wrecked kitchen door. Slowly but surely, his cheeks went bright red. That's enough, Kevin. Now please go to bed. It was then that Sid noticed as Kevin walked by a single blue tear welling up in his eye. Why do you think he's so sad? Suddenly, Sydney did not feel so clever. He actually felt like the least bestest friend ever. He went up the stairs full of sorrows and guilt to where he found Kevin tucked up under his quilt. Kevin, Sid whispered. Oh, Kevin, stop crying. I've been really selfish. There is no denying. I am terribly sorry I've got you in trouble. I'm going to put right all the wrongs on the double. So Sid scrubbed all the walls and he scrubbed all the floors. He mended the bed and he fixed all the doors. He brushed down the dog and he settled the hens. He tidied away all of Kevin's new pens. He fixed it. He messed up, he fessed up, and he fixed it. And then they're going to move on, I bet. And then he gave Kevin a card that he'd made. My drawing is not very good, I'm afraid, but I hope that you like it and find it in your heart. A way to be friends like we were at the start. Kevin just smiled and he gave Sid a cuddle. And there they both stood in a big teardrop puddle. Kevin showed Sid the way back to the hatch. They said their goodbyes as Sid unlocked the hatch. But before he went down, a reformed Sidney Gibbons, he collected some flowers and tied them with ribbons. Back in his room, Sidney got himself dressed. Then he ran down the stairs, flowers clutched to his chest. He dashed through the house from one room to another. At last in the kitchen, our Sid found his mother. Mom, I am sorry for causing such trouble. I am the one who turned the bird bath to rubble. I messed up my room and I ruined my pens. I should not blame it all on my innocent friends. Then Sidney gave her the beautiful posy and Mom was so happy her cheeks went all rosy. Now this is Sid Gibbons and this is his mom, and there on the slides are Invisible Chum. I wonder if you have a make-believe friend, an invisible pal upon whom you depend. If no one believes, you don't grumble or moan, 'cause one thing's for certain. You're not on your own. Look at all those kids and their friends. The end. And look, it looks like Mom and Kevin's dad are invisible friends too. Alrighty, I hope you guys enjoyed that book. Talk to you later. Bye.